Hello again, this is Behind the Curtain. I'm Betsy Jordan, and I'd like to talk to you about men who say they're pro-choice, but yet they're still voting for the other guy. They've made it okay for pro-choice men to say, I support women. I support women's rights. I just think the states should decide. I'm going to tell you what a cop-out that is, okay? Right now, in the United States, 1 in 3 women, young women of childbearing age, live in a state that has banned abortions or has limited reproductive freedoms. 1 in 3. This is a very frightening thing. This is why. There are certain medical conditions where abortion is a health care choice. For example, I know of a case in Texas where a woman was actually in septic shock because she had had a partial miscarriage. Well, to completely give her a D&C is the same thing as a late-term abortion. Now, she wanted this child, had IVF for it, all of it, was on her deathbed. She had to get a court injunction to keep from putting her doctor at risk because he would have lost his license. He would have never been able to practice again. He couldn't treat her for what was ailing her. She had to get a court injunction to even go across state lines. Now, she's laying on her deathbed. If you can imagine being her loved one, not being able to get her doctor to do anything because he would be in jail, and then what happens then? So that's what's happening when you're throwing it back to the states. Women are dying. They don't have a choice, right? So there are also things like ectopic pregnancies. And in some states right now, the procedure that would be required is to remove the fertilized egg from the fallopian tube, which is classified as an abortion. Instead, what they have to do to save the mother's life is to remove the fallopian tube, which means she's likely to never be able to have children. If nothing is done, she dies, and so does the baby. All these things are egregious, and men are saying, well, I'm for pro-choice, but Trump's better for my pocketbook. That's actually not true either, okay? The economy was tanked because Trump panicked during COVID, totally tanked. And President Biden, when he took over, it was the worst economic condition that our country had been in. He was dealing with the kind of extraordinary circumstances that very few people could have led us through. And now people are disremembering that. Throwing that decision back to states' rights is also very dangerous for another reason. And I'm going to say this in the alarmist way first, and then I'm going to explain myself. If you vote to throw everything back to states' rights and give states that kind of power, you are essentially voting for the dissolution of the United States of America. When you have states that are very large contributors to the GDP of our country, when you have states that have strong military bases, but they can mount a military, they can secede from the Union. So this thing with reproductive freedom and reproductive rights being thrown back to the states from the Supreme Court is the canary in a coal mine. They're going to see if this works. If it works, and they can convince people that what they're doing is the right thing, guess who is happy? The guy across the pond who is still pissed off at us because we were instrumental in the dissolution of the Soviet Union. None other than Vladimir Putin himself would be very, very happy to know that the United States was dealing with states that were seceding. Now, I don't tell you this to frighten you, but I tell you this to tell the people who are saying to you, I'm pro-choice, I'm for women, I just believe in states' rights. You need to let them know what kind of danger they're in. They will lose the country that they love because they are saying, it's okay with me if the states decide. We have to face this. We have to face this particular challenge. Step up. Research, find out what is really happening when we throw things back to states' rights. Because we don't want the end of the United States. You don't want that, I don't want that. This is Behind the Curtain, in my opinion, IMO, and I'm grateful to you for being here. Thank you.